Try to goal! And what a goal!
What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? How yous all doing and all that bollocks? We have a few friends in the house to help us along the road. What's going to happen in the Premier League this season? You can turn your TVs off. We're going to fucking digest into this and tell yous who's coming first, second, third, fourth, and fucking fifth. And because Tony's here, we'll talk about the relegation battle as well. Anyway, I'll introduce the boys here straight away. Eugene, the enemy, the Spurs fan from Malaysia. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, we go. I'm doing well. I guess it's good evening to you guys there over in your side of the pond, and it's good morning to all those watching from this side of the pond, from my side of the pond, right? And of course, somewhere around in the middle of the world, good afternoon to you guys too.
Yeah, big up. And we'll come back to you straight away because there's big news for your club at the minute. But we'll introduce Tony here. Tony, how are you keeping, mate? How's everything?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. And thanks for inviting me on, Dale. As always, it's a pleasure. You know, speaking to you finally in the flesh, as we say. And welcome to everyone in the chat as well. And obviously to Eugene, from our brother from the other side of the world. Good to see you as well.
Yeah, exactly. And look, let's get into this. If you don't mind, please do subscribe to the channel and hit a like button if you don't mind. And Eugene and Tony's, their link is in the description as well. And we have John Sinclair is coming on in the next few minutes as well. And so is Kyle Walsh, Gunnar. He's going to be in the building as well. So it's going to get interesting. You know what I mean? So look, we're going to start with Eugene. The big story out of Spurs today. The degree has been, the fee has been agreed. Is he leaving, or what is the story with Harry Kane?
To tell the truth, right? This drama has been dragged on since the end of last season, since June until now, and the ball now is actually in Kane's court because earlier he threw the ball back at Levy's court, right, by saying that he will give it until the last until the start of the season when the Brentford game starts. If that deal isn't concluded by then, he will more or less stay and ride out his contract until the season ends, right? But now the agreement has been made between Levy and Bayern. The fee has been agreed. Somehow or another, there's news coming out that Harry Kane is not too eager to move for whatever reason, right? So, as you know, being a Spurs fan, if you've been through a lot of Spurs channels and you've watched it, right, there's a lot of divide in the fan base, right? Some of us want him to go. Some of us, want him to stay. Some of us are saying a lot of things, not so nice things about him and all that, right? But for me, is that to tell the truth, I'm bored. I've been bored for the past 2 years about Harry Kane. We should have settled this matter when he talked about moving to Manchester City, right? And why did the club and the owners prolong it for so long? Let it reach to this kind of juncture, right? But in the end of the day, we have to thank Daniel Levy for giving us more content to make along the way. So the drama goes on. I guess we will find out in at least another 24 hours time or so. That's what we've been told, because Kane hasn't come out with a statement. We don't know. Right? All the first fans are just speculating now, right? But between the clubs, it's been agreed to. Before the agreement between the clubs, it's already thought that the personal details have been already agreed between Bayern and Kane. So my question is, why the delay?
Yeah, like from the outside looking in, okay. Is it like? Yeah, no problem. Is it Kane looking for a new contract, or is he trying to drive that up? Because surely he wants to stay and beat this Premier League record that everyone's talking about, the Alan Shearer record and stuff like that.
I don't think so, Del Boy. What I think is right now, because Kane is pissed off, right? Because Levy didn't let him leave 2 years ago to Manchester City. And look what Manchester City has achieved. They've got the treble with Haaland. You get what I'm saying? And remember when during that interview and all that with Gary Neville, all hell broke loose again, right? And Kane says that he has got a gentleman's agreement with Levy. When a proper bid came in for him, Levy will let him go. But of course, there were rumors out there that Manchester City did come in with a bid, but it wasn't the amount that what Levy wanted, because according to certain sources, Levy wanted a range between 150 to 200 million pounds 2 years ago, right? But Man City came in with a 75 million pound bid, which, to tell the truth, I wouldn't have sold Kane for 75 million pounds, because don't forget that season they bought Jack Grealish first for 100 million pounds. So I guess maybe was it a money problem that they couldn't stump up the money to attract Levy to sell Kane? But I guess in a way it's a kind of a payback thing, right? You must remember when after that we brought in, after the Jose thing, we brought in Nuno, right? Kane threw his toys out of Prem. He didn't perform for the first 3 months under Nuno until Conte came in. That's when he had a change of heart and he started playing well again. But that was that season, and then we know what happened last season, right? So who do I blame for this? I don't know how to say this, but usually in the end of the day, I guess I'll still blame Daniel Levy and the club and all that, because they didn't run this properly, right? And to tell the truth, somehow or another, we hang on to the players too long. We're still stuck with Dyer, Davis, and Ndombele. There's a whole list of players that we've been hanging on to, right? So I guess we'll find out soon, right, whether he's staying or he's going. So, and if he stays, I mean, it should be something like what happened with PSG, right? And Mbappe's scenario. The owners should have come up, like what the Sheikh said, or the Prince of Qatar said, is something like, if Mbappe doesn't sign a contract, right, in this last year, in this current contract, he doesn't sign extension or a new contract, right? He ain't playing for the club.
Simple as, yeah.
So I guess Daniel doesn't have the balls to do it, because maybe he's still trying to coax Kane to sign an extension.
But I think now that Levy is going to be pushed into a corner where he is going to have to do that. Yeah, he has to.
No, Del, the thing is, ESL, Levy's been pushed in a corner. Furlough, Levy's been pushed in a corner. Jose Mourinho being pushed in a corner. Levy doesn't get pushed in a corner. You know why? Our fan base typically are just timid. They don't take action, right? So if the fan base doesn't react in the way that they're supposed to react, right, Levy will do whatever he wants to do, because Levy is right in the way. In that day, Levy will put out the seed of discontent against Kane, right? And then the whole fan base will turn against Kane. That's what our first fan base is, right? Unambitious, right? Just going there to watch have happy times, right? And just watch the beer floats up from the bottom of the cup. That's all.
Tony, what do you make of all this? Just since it's breaking news, and it's just something I want to talk about. From your point of view, what do you make of the Harry Kane thing? Is he just peddling along for a big contract? Is he flirting with other Premier League clubs, or is this Bayern Munich legit? Because I don't understand the Bayern Munich thing. Why would he leave for Bayern Munich? Man City were only after him a season or two ago.
Yeah, I think when you look at the City situation there, I mean, obviously he wanted out from Spurs, didn't he? And I think he still wanted to be at Spurs at the time, because at that point, as much as I'm going to, say it through gritted teeth, they didn't play some bad football. But I think Levy, when you offer him something, I think it's like either £300,000 to £350,000 a week, that tempted him to stay at Spurs. And now it got to the stage where you can see that, and Eugene probably may agree with this, when you look at the actual squad itself, apart from Kane, or Son even kind of dropped off the radar, there was no real good players there in that squad. So when you look at Bayern coming in, obviously they fancied the player, they want him to come to him, and they seem like they were very keen on this. They really pushed it hard. But it's obviously, as Eugene said, Levy, we know what he's like. He likes to get a bargain, and he wants to make sure he's going to get his money, not what the other club wants. And I mean, obviously they've come to this agreement. When you think at 84 million for 31-year-old, that's good money. So any other club really should have kind of stepped that offer up.
Tony, the price is to 95.
It's 94 million, 94 million kind of thing. So something like that, you definitely do it. It seems to be what's the stumbling block now is apparently Kane and the terms, because he wanted it done by the end of this week. Because, as you said, Eugene, Levy's dragged the arse out of this. Kane's now obviously kind of thinking, well, I've told everyone, you know, I want it till the end of the week. If not, I'm still going to be a Spurs player. It seems to be the personal terms, and I think Bayern's come to realise that this kind of the paperwork side of things is not as straightforward as it made out to be. So I think this is what is holding it up and making Kane to reconsider if he's going to be a Spurs player. But in my opinion, if he stays, then he's an idiot, because all he's going to do at that stage there is going to see it out for either possibly one season, and then he can move on. Whereas you know, the club loses out on money. Bayern obviously is going to get frustrated because they're not going to get their man, and Kane's legacy is going to be mud. Really simple as that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the thing is that when you come to this kind of scenario, right? All I know is that Levy is going to piss off Bayern Munich, and the next time if we're going to do a deal with Bayern Munich, we're going to get really, really screwed. So I don't know what to say anymore. Yeah. So Levy has been doing it. That's why it comes back to the same scenario, Del Boy. Right? We went in for Raya in June, right? And we were pushed to the price of nearly the 30 million pounds, right, to buy Raya, right? You guys go in August and you get a 3 million loan deal with an option to buy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, you know, I've been very critical of Edu and Arteta, the way they've been doing business and stuff like that. But I have to give it to them. That is good. Now, it's probably sort of, because we've already spent 200 million this transfer window, you can't spend any more. But on the flip side of that, there's a flip side. You know what I mean? It's let 9 players go, terminated their contract since Arteta has taken over. Like, for me, that's an absolute joke. You know what I mean? To terminate contracts and actually pay them money to get out of the club is a pretty much disgraceful. So if Edu, the only way he can get his let's say reputation back, in my eyes, my opinion, is if he starts selling players, like earning money for them. Apparently, Matt Turner, they got 10 million for him. I think he paid 3 million profit. Okay, you know what I mean? That's reasonable. But look, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going to give you this scenario, right? At least you guys are willing to terminate the contracts and let the players go so you can get new players in. Look at what Spurs does. We don't terminate the contracts. We keep them as an old folks' home, right? We've got Eric Dyer there for the past 8 years who can't defend for shit, right? And he's still, right? He came out in the Barcelona friendly as the captain of the... Oh, I can't even... Right? Big up, Carl. Right? Imagine...
Big up, lads.
Imagine, right? If Spurs had the balls like what Arsenal did for Arteta, right? Cut the players out, right? Bring new blood in, take the loss, take the hit, right? And rebuild. What have we done? This June, this transfer window, right? We've brought in about 6 players. We've only had 1 player leave, Harry Winks. How are we going to get rid of all the other deadwood in the next 2 or 3 weeks? I don't see that. And that means that we're going to end up, right, with a squad like Chelsea, 40-year-old players, over-bloated, right? And we got a new manager, right? And when the new manager comes in, there's always this chance of the players proving themselves, whether they can fit the system, blah, blah, blah again. We go back to square one again. But if it's a good development and a rebuild thing, fair. And if the manager has been given a chance to stay long-term, don't forget, we sacked Mourinho after 18 months. Sorry, not even after 18 months. In around 8 months, right? We brought in Nuno, sacked him in 3 months. We brought in Conte, sacked him in 10 months. In the past 4 years, we've sacked 3 managers. In the past 2 or 3 years, we've sacked 3 managers. None of our managers have lasted more than a year. So that is our problem now. You guys getting rid of the deadwood. It doesn't look financially good, but it's worked.
Right? Yeah. Well, look, see, the thing about it is, once Deadwood's around the dressing room, it's no good whatsoever. Like, you know what I mean? Because they're not getting their game. They're bad-mouthing the manager. It doesn't work for anyone. And I do agree with that, 100%. Like, you know what I mean? So was it fair on them managers to have that dead wood sitting there? Like, are you blaming 100% Daniel Levy on that? Like,
imagine, right? Tottenham Hotspur, right? When Conte blew his gasket and spilled the beans, right? He said, Spurs has got a players committee. Spurs has got a leadership committee. Why do the players have a committee? That means if the players have committee, that means there's a player power scenario there.
Yeah.
And when you have a player power there, why do you want managers for? Just let the players train themselves and run themselves and play the game, right? So my question now comes in with Ange coming in. If this players committee and leadership committee is still in existence, he's going nowhere. We're just going back to square one again. Big up Static. Yeah. Haven't seen you in a long time. You haven't done shows with you. Yeah. The last time I did a show with Static was when Steven was still around, right? Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Steven,
yeah, I miss him so bloody much.
Yeah, I'll just read out and I'll just big up to everyone that's in the chat. Like, there's a few, like, Static obviously being one, Acres is one, Carl Rossi, big up Paul, Warren, Danny, Lenny, all the bleeding usual legends in the chat. I would just want to come to you now, Tony. Sorry, Jez is there as well, and I'm just scrolling down here as I see them. Danny, Paul, big up everyone, and I'll read your comments out now in a minute.
Real ones in there.
Tony, let me see. Let's go to West Ham. How are you guys dealing with? Well, first of all, what's David Moyes smoking over there that he wants Harry Maguire?
You got to think he's worked with him before. He knows. For me, he's a typical Moyes player. Defensively minded. I mean, okay, that's David Moyes. I'm not saying Maguire's defensively minded, but if you look at it, it's one of those. It will fit in with West Ham and Moyes, I believe. So you'll see a different player, I think, compared to what he was at Man United. Because when you think big price tag, a lot of pressure, you've got to then trying to emulate that price tag when you go onto the pitch. And we all saw the consequences of him not doing it, basically. But Moyes, I mean, we've got this kind of problem going on at the moment. I think I said it in one of the other channels I was in the other day. We've got this new sporting director, Steadtine. You got him, you got Sullivan, Noble in the background, learning everything. It's, on that kind of board level, it's a bit of a mess. But I'm finally glad to see that we're actually signing someone there and we're going to do some further business. So it's taken a while, but at least it's going on.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to introduce the two boys who are after coming in there. First of all, Kyle Walsh, who has moved out of his apartment. He's on mute, by the way. He's moved out of his apartment into a van, so no more red doors in the back. But how's the movement going on, brother?
Yeah, it's a disaster, little boy. But Lucas, we'll get there eventually. No paint and all that. So, there's going to be a different background, little boy, for the coming season. So big up to you all, big up to the panel, big up to the chat, big up to yourself, Del Boy, for having me here tonight.
No problem at all. I says I'll sit back, I'll let someone else do the Arsenal stuff, and I'll just delegate the questions out. And another one who's after joining in there is me mate Nilo from the upper tier, Liverpool fan in the building. How are you keeping, mate?
I'm absolutely doing fine. How are you? Can't wait for the season to start, as you can imagine.
Well, here we hit it straight away, Niall, and we'll start come in swinging digs. You know what I mean? There's no point in just keeping you there relaxed in the corner. Let's go for it. What's going on with your midfield?
What's going on with my midfield? What's going on with my defence? What's going on with my ownership? What's going on with my manager? What's going on with my striker? Where do I begin? With this? It's an absolute shit show, Del. From start to finish, we've got where do I begin? Our pre-season was an absolute disaster. The quality of teams that we played, 3 Bundesliga second division teams, a Leicester team where the pond is totally drained of talent. And then when we did play a Bayern Munich team, look at what happened. We got taught a lesson like last season. Outside of that, then, if you look at our rebuild and our £200 million war chest that we were supposed to have on top of sales, that hasn't transpired. And then acting the way we're acting in the transfer market is just an absolute joke for this rebuild. 8 players out, 2 players in, fapping around on Lavia for 4 or 5 weeks, sitting on our hands, no plan B as usual from us. The smoke screen of Andre from South America, to try and push that through, which was absolute nonsense. And now apparently we have found 100 million for Caicedo all of a sudden. And apparently we're going to be bidding for Caicedo this evening, trying to hijack that Chelsea deal. And the sad thing about it is we actually need Caicedo and Lavia, to be honest, because Lavia should have been coming in as the understudy to Fabinho, but Fabinho headed off to Saudi Arabia to take that good bag. Fair play to him. And we've lost our captain. We've lost our vice captain. Arguably, we've appointed a captain and a vice captain where both players probably had two of the biggest drop-offs last season, probably apart from Hendo. So Alisson is sitting there wondering what he has to do. Not that I like our goalkeepers as captains either, but Mo Salah must be wondering what he has to do as well, still performing in a poor side and in a poor season. Massive drop-off last season. We find ourselves now having to endure Thursday night football, playing no-name teams up the Alps and the snow peaks of Northern Europe and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of embarrassing as a Liverpool fan. And for me as a content creator, having to cover our backroom staff, we've lost 2 directors of football. We've lost our analytics person. We've lost our strategic partnership person. It took us 6 months to get a club doctor. This is big Liverpool. 6 months to get a club doctor. Just imagine that. And all this talk coming out at the moment now, the Klopp might be tempted to walk at the end of this season. Salah looks like he's going to jump into bed with the Saudis, either through Saudi Arabia Pro League or PSG. I reckon he'll be gone next summer and we'll have more crying and more toxicity. This is the way it's going to go. Like players have never left the club before and all that kind of thing. And I'm not predicting a very good season, to be honest. All that wrapped up. And if you look at the squad, look at us going into the Chelsea game. I will be doing a preview on that and I'll have a lot to say. But we're going into a Chelsea game ill-prepared. And we're looking at a situation where we're going to play either 3 or 4 players out of position in a makeshift formation. Lads that came in that were promised the sun, moon and the stars. McAllister 10, Mac 10 is suddenly going to become Mac 6. Talk of Curtis Jones might be going to Crystal Palace. He's linked with it at the moment. Talk of Thiago exiting the building as well. We're going to have Trent inverted. God knows what that's going to do with Mudryk down that end being held back by Konate or something like that. We have Andy Robertson in there, who's now a left centre back, which is an absolute joke, to be honest. We're going to have Gakpo dropping into an 8. And all this big up talk at the start of the transfer window where we had put the legs back into midfield. We've now taken the legs back out of midfield. And Sunday's going to be a very, very tough game. So, yeah, getting back to your first question, can't wait for the season to start.
Jesus Christ, that's unfucking intro.
Let me know if you want any more. I can keep on going if you want more. Honestly, I am vexed at this right now. I have the fall is just. I say to you all the time, I don't have 30 years left in me to wait for another league title. I don't have another 30 years. I did the hard miles. I can't do it anymore.
Now, at least you have one, right? We don't have none. I don't think I can win a 20 years for a league title.
Do you know the worst thing? Do you know the worst thing that's happened to us? We're a victim now of our own success. This is the problem.
It's
horrific. At the moment, it's horrific at every level right now, to be honest. It's horrific at every level.
I say, after listening to you, Noel, I feel so much happier now about my club.
Not even that, lads. Here's the best of it, right? All you guys are rivals. Yous are all FSG in. So what does that tell you? And most of you guys are starting. Do you know how bad it's got? Our rival fans now are starting to feel sorry for us. It's that bad.
Oh,
so it's just when it gets like that, it's just this is starting to smell like the last 3 years of Wenger, isn't it? It's starting to smell like the last 3 years of Wenger.
We've had this since 2005, like, you know what I mean? I'm everyone's best mate in the pub, like, you know what I mean? I want to go out swinging out the door, you know what I mean? Fuck yous, you know what I mean? This is the way it is, like, you know.
Popping up goals to second division Bundesliga.
I'm going to say this now.
It's like it's not an issue and all, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say this right now. You feel how Spurs fans feel.
Well, Well, this is
I
it.
don't
This
think
is-
I'll ever get to a point where I know how a Spurs fan feels. But I tell you what,
no,
I'm pretty low at the moment. I still have hope that maybe we might be able to do something. But at the moment, it's just amateur hour. I can't believe, like if you think about it, if we were signing Mbappe or Neymar or Tchouaméni or Jude Bellingham, I'd expect there'd be a back and forth and a bit of a chore to get it over the line. This is a club that got relegated with a guy who played 20 league games, who looked fantastic in a bum side, and we're going back with our fourth bid.
Oh.
That's how serious we are. And the second bid, when they told us that it was 50 million, and we know about the buyback clause with City, we know about the sell-on clause, we know about all this. That's why they want 50 million. And our first bid was 38 million, and our second bid was 41 million. That's how serious we are. We're the most serious club out there. It's shocking.
Where has it gone wrong? Like, what's the story? Is it FSG or what's the story?
It's fractured everywhere, Del. It's fractured. The breakdown in communication between the manager and the ownership. The ownership have a very different view on what success is. And like a number of decisions they tried to make, like the Super League and the trademarking of certain brands within the club and all that kind of stuff, they've forgotten about what Liverpool is about and what it was built on. And we had an opportunity to create a dynasty. And what we did was we sat on our hands and we wrung out the towel till there was no water left in it. And what's actually happened was, you hear Billy Hogan today. Billy Hogan, not my namesake now, so don't think he's related to me around. Billy Hogan up at Liverpool turned around today and said, well, we have to adjust because we're not in the Champions League. We were in the Champions League, we'd no money. We won the Champions League, we'd no money. We won the Premier League, we'd no money. We get into the top four all the time, we'd no money. So when exactly, Billy Hogan, when do we actually have money? Tell me when we have money. And then the kicker is then, we've signed a lovely new partnership deal there with Google Pixel yesterday. How wonderful that is. Don't know what he's going to do. We're the smallest club, the smallest squad going into the season. Currently, we've 22 players registered. We're 19th. Our ownership is 19th in the league in terms of direct ownership investment. And they're talking about wanting to get into other teams and other sports. Can't even do us. And then they tried to spoof us about the stadium rebuild and the new stands and stuff like that. No, that was all funded by Liverpool internally under long-term loans to FSG. They're bullshitters. They know they're bullshitters and they're being found out. But unfortunately, what can we do? Because out of all our rivals and all the teams in the Premier League, we're probably the one fan base that's probably the most romantic and the most understanding. So we're not going to run into Anfield and start tearing seats out of the thing. We're not going to set shit alight. We're not going to stand in front of a mega store. We're not going to do all that kind of stuff. And it's just we just bend over and we just accept it,
No. Spurs fans are the ones who will take the title, right? we've been accepting it for the past 62 years since the one league title.
Yeah,
so
but you have to understand there's different levels to this as well. If you think about it, 2 years ago, we were 40 minutes away from winning the quad.
Yeah, I know.
Just think about that drop off.
Right? Maybe that broke you guys, right? 40 minutes to winning the quad. That broke you guys real bad. But the truth, but the truth, right? Football has become a business now, right? The owners look at the numbers, and it's all about the numbers. And the fans become the suckers. You get what I'm saying? We put in the money, we spend the money, and in the end of the day, unless you become, I'm not sure there's no Manchester United fan here, right? I mean, you guys did do a protest, right? That actually stopped a game. You get what I'm saying? What do Spurs fans do, right? Whenever we protest, there's 20 people standing outside the store shop. The biggest protest that we had last year, right? You know what happened? Because we were humped by Newcastle. After being humped by Newcastle, a lot of Spurs fans woke up and said, we have to protest, right? So I guess it is what it is. Fans have become, I'm not sure nowadays, the passionate fans that look for glory nowadays, right, are all in the past. Nowadays, the fans go out for a day out, family day, right? Football is part of the entertainment. That's how I see it.
Well, I just want to come to Kyle there, and we'll have a quick chat, because I know Kyle will want to sort of have a say about Liverpool. What do you make of it all, mate?
Yeah, Liverpool. It's sad to see the state Liverpool is at fighting themselves in after building themselves up to the standards that the Champions League and win the Premier League and compete against Man City. And now look at them. They're in an office there. And I don't want to expect big things from Liverpool this season either. Which is sad. And to think that this could be Klopp's last season in charge, I think is sad for football. Because he's had done some wonderful stuff there in the English Premier League. And we've seen some great football under his management. We've seen some great players. And unfortunately, all good things come to an end. And it looks like Liverpool could be fighting out for the next few years. Like, I don't want to see us down too much, man, in the coming years, to be honest with you. And I think the club goes and stuff like that, I can see it just going downhill even more, man, to tell you the truth. But it's just ownership.
Just even look at the money we've saved. We've saved 38 million this year in wages now with who's left the building, and that includes McAllister and Szoboszlai coming in. And then if you look at the Szoboszlai deal, when you think your man George came in and stuff like that, I mean, we both of those were basically release clauses, so there was no real deal in that. So the Lavia deal, where it's a little bit more awkward, you can't get it over the line. But you look at the Szoboszlai deal as well. You know, the Szoboszlai deal was actually funded through a third party, and we don't start paying for it till next summer. So that's not even in this year. So at the moment, we're about 40 mil or 45 mil ahead in positive, and we're still sitting on our hands. We should be signing a bunch of players. Look at the state of our bench. I looked at that last. Or did I look at that last pre-season game against Darmstadt? Darmstadt, I think it was. It might have been even the Bayern game. I'm not too sure. We took off Gakpo, Trent, and Robbo, and we brought on 3 players. And I was just thinking, the drop off in the quality. Like, you look at City, they take off Bernardo Silva, they bring on Phil Foden. You know what I mean? You look at John's team, Newcastle. Look at how good Newcastle are operating at the moment. You know what I mean? Look at Aston Villa. We are absolutely shocking. All the teams around us, and I don't mean last season, because that was kind of Brentford and Brighton and stuff like that. No, but if you look at all the teams around us that you want to challenge to get back into the top 4 or in the title race and all that, they're all strengthening. They're all bringing in player after player. They're doing great deals. Look at I was laughed at when I spoke about James Ward-Prowse 6 weeks ago. Who's laughing now? And we went to go get James Ward-Prowse and we were told 50 million. And now he's going to West Ham for 30 million. So there's a problem with Southampton anyway. They're not happy with us over the Van Dijk situation. So that's fine. But I mean, where's the plan B? Who else? The other option then is a guy in South America who no one knows anything about for 25 million. So it's project after project after project. And it's shocking. No DM for the whole of the preseason. No DM. Just put Trent in there. Put Trent in there with no pivot. Shocking. Put Curtis Jones in there. Shocking. And now they're putting McAllister in there. Imagine how McAllister feels coming in as the engine in the midfield and being told, no, actually, we're going to now use you as the destroyer in the DM. Is that okay, Mac 10? Of course it is. No problem, Gaffer. It's fucking shocking, man. It's shocking. Shocking.
I'll tell you one thing. One person who doesn't give a shit about the money and the heat up in Newcastle at this minute because he's waving the fucking flag, the white flag. Big up, brother. How are you?
Big up, John.
Big up, guys. Big up to you, Spurs. Everybody else is in the room. I hope things for you guys are great.
Yeah. What's the story with Newcastle? You have done some good signings. You have kidnapped a young fella from Milan who didn't want to leave Milan, but how's he settling in?
Before I turn that on, so I've just been on BBC Radio Newcastle and spoke to our chief exec, Darren Eales, for 5 minutes, and we check him out. It's going to be between 27 and 6:45, so check me out on that, and nice. Absolutely fantastic. So Darren Eales, you are a legend. Fantastic chief exec as well. On to Sandro Tonali. I mean, look, I think he's a great player. I really do. He's top of the Prem, but at the end of the day, right, I mean, in my opinion, I felt a cracking sign because he couldn't get Burrell over the line, so we try and get this guy over the line. And it's going to take him time. I watch him from Milan. He's absolutely brilliant. He's got vision. He's got a passing range. He scores. He takes free kicks. And I think this guy's a magic player. He's, like I said, with Joe Linton and Bruno in the engine room as well, he'll settle in very, very quickly. But one thing I'm going to say to you guys, Italian players do not settle well in England. There's only few and far between. Vialli settled, Zolo settled. Yeah, those are two big names that settled. Cudicini for Chelsea as well, right? Tonali, I think under Eddie Howe will be one of the best Italian players to grace the Premier League. I mean, I'm pleased to the signing 55 million quid it cost us on a 5-year deal. And do you know what it is, right? I think it's a cracking deal, a fantastic deal for Newcastle United. And yeah, I'm happy with the signings. We still need a left back. We still need a centre back. And then for me, it'd be a good window.
And like there has been talk, let's say this sort of transfer window, especially about Kieran Tierney, and I'm sure you guys would grab him. Like I'm not sure why they haven't gone in yet, and if they are looking for the left back, I think he slots into you guys perfectly.
100%. I mean, look, I've always been a Kieran Tierney fan. This guy, when he is not injured, well, I'm a Celtic fan. I rated this guy from day one. This guy is going to be one of the best left backs in Europe, in my opinion, or if not in the country. At the end of the day, I think, you know, if we get him a left back, he's a proper left back. We definitely need a left back that can play a left back as well. And Kieran Tierney fits that bill. Dan Burn, I love him. He's done a fantastic job for us this season. Last season, I meant to say, but we need someone who's going to be a left back and actually play there. I mean, I could put Dan Burn at centre back. I mean, Matt Targett is splitting the fans at the minute. And the bottom line is, I mean, he has some poor games, but it's just an okay player for me. I mean, if he plays, he gives a good performance, but it doesn't do it enough for me. And we definitely need a left back. And Harvey Barnes, thank you, Darren. Hi to you, mate. Harvey Barnes, I tell you what, this guy, I watched him Sunday and I see what he's all about. He scored 2 cracking goals. Here's a stat for you guys. Harvey Barnes has scored 13 goals last season for Leicester City. ASM has scored 11 in 4 seasons, 22 assists. That tells you the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like, you know what I mean? I feel that Newcastle are going to be a threat. And while before everyone goes, I want to sort of do a top sort of 6 prediction. So if you can be sort of thinking it back in your head. But I want to give Tony a bit of airtime here and sort of go back to the Hammers. You know, we took Declan Rice on you guys. How are you guys going to replace him, or do you need to replace him?
We may have done that today, actually, with Edson Alvarez. He's a defensive midfielder, Mexican, you know, from Ajax. And he looks fairly decent. So that could be the one from the start of that, from having him. Obviously, yes. We're still waiting to find out what's going on with Ward-Prowse. I think the medicals either is today or tomorrow. Slabhead, as we know, is obviously coming as well. There is talks of Fofana. That's still ongoing. So we can get hold of him as well. That would be a great business. We can get hold of him. And obviously the recent one that's come out again, I know it was banded a couple of weeks back, Balogun. We need a striker badly, and Balogun could fit the bill, but depends what price tag you're going to let us have him for.
Well, if it's me in charge, 50. You're not getting them fucking cheap, mate.
50. Lavia part 2, 50.
Yeah. Where else do you think that
you guys? You know, there's a few more. You know, a few more players they've got in the pipeline. They're looking at. There was some other. Who was it? I'm trying to think. The other day they mentioned it. We was, you know, the secret club that came in with a player. That was supposed to be us about by all accounts, but I don't know if I believe that or not.
Yeah. Please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and all the guys' links are in the description as well, apart from Kyle Walsh Gunner, which I will add to the show. So please just check the guys' channels out, hit subscribe to it. It's free of charge, you know what I mean? Every bit helps for all of us, you know what I mean? But anyway, Kyle, I want to Eugene, I want to talk to you about what's your sort of thinking now of the top sort of who's your winning the league? Is there a standout for you?
To tell the truth, right, guys, I think you'd like to hear this now. I got a funny feeling Man City might have a slight wobble this season, and if you guys play your cards right, you might get a good chance of winning the league. Unless I think Newcastle does some kind of magic, right? Then there might be some challenge there. If not, I don't see anybody else, right? At the moment, like what Niall is saying, Liverpool ain't there. Spurs, I ain't going to say anything because, you know, with all the Hurricane drama that's going on, I don't know how that's going to affect. And of course, with Ange being a new manager in the Premier League, we do not know whether he can make us perform to the way that we need to perform to be up there challenging. But Spurs never challenge on anything anyway, so it is what it is. Arsenal has got a very good chance, and I see it. The only other challenges to go for the league at the moment is Man City, Arsenal, maybe a Newcastle and Manchester United, right? But of course, for Newcastle, they are back in Europe. That is, we still do not know what's going to happen there, right? Whether you guys can handle the 2 games a week thing, the 3 games a week thing that happens to whenever you go into Europe. We don't know about that. But if Eddie Howe is what I see is a very smart manager, intelligent manager, he's been planning this for a long time now to come back, right? To train a team, develop a team in his way, and to be able to be sustainable throughout the season, playing 3 games a week, right? Sometimes if congestion comes along, you might have to play even 4 games a week, right? That could be the crazy scenario, but it is what it is. At the moment now, I see around the top 4 will be between Arsenal, Man City, right? 3rd, 4th will be around like what happened last season. But I still have, there's still one wild card there, Chelsea. We keep forgetting about Chelsea because Chelsea didn't do too well last season, right? And now they got Poch, right? Remember where Poch used to be, right? They got Poch, and Poch could be in the challenge. And don't forget, next season, I think the top, the Champions League position has gone to the top 5 position, right? So now we're fighting for top 5 positions, right? So I guess maybe you add a Chelsea into the mix there, and further down, and don't be surprised, there might be a wild card coming out. Aston Villa. There's one other guy coming up. Aston Villa could be a wild card coming into this mix too, because they've bought well, as I see it, right? They spend the money well, and they've improved slightly a bit. But of course, it comes to the sense that they're playing in Europe too, so we do not know that part. For the rest of it, I guess it will be whether Brighton will be there. I don't think so, because Brighton, I think they will fall off because of Europe. A lot of teams do. Like when West Ham went into Europa League, right, Conference League, you guys fell off back, and then it was a struggle for you, right, Tony? And for us Spurs fans, for me, my hope now is that Harry Kane drama gets settled, whether he's staying, whether he's going, right? And then we'll see what squad we have. And we still have that bunch of defenders who can't defend, right, for peanuts, right? And they're still there. We've bought a young up and rising defender in Ashley Phillips. We'll almost probably move into the youth team. We got Van der Veen from Wolfsburg for nearly 45 million pounds in all, right? Not proven yet, but he has the speed. For me, being a Spurs fan, if we do get the 8th spot, I'll be happy, but I don't even think we can reach that. If Kane gets sold, then I'll just come to the sense that the only prediction I can make for us is when the transfer window closes, what improvements we get, or we don't get any improvements, then it will even look more dire.
Eugene, you got that lad from Argentina, from Rosario Central, Balev?
Yeah, the Belize boy. Yeah,
I've had Tim Vickery on me show Monday before. They very watched that show, Tim Vickery, and he spoke about this guy. And he spoke about him yesterday, and he told me, and he told TalkSport yesterday, he's not convinced about this guy. I mean, the Argentine league is weak, very weak. That's why he's scoring the goals. It's okay banging in 11 goals for his club, but when he comes to the Premier League, he's going to face defense so quicker, stronger, and stronger as well. How is he going to cope with it? I mean, there's only 2 Argentine players who's coped here.
But John, the worst part is, right, we buy these players at that age. I think he's 19 now.
19 years old.
He might not even be in the first team, John.
I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know. I don't know anything about this guy, but I heard what Tim Vickery's told us the other day.
I know. I heard what Tim said. Right, he's not ready yet for this level. He's not ready yet.
Not yet.
So he might not even be in the first team. He might get loaned out for But at the moment now, if Kane stays, then there's a higher chance of us reaching a bit higher. That's all I say. If Kane goes, then I guess we'll be like 2 or 3 levels lower. That's all. For me, being a Spurs fan,
the thoughts are relying on Richarlison, eh? The thoughts. I'll enjoy that one. I'll enjoy that.
Jesus.
Eugene, you said about West Ham, and you're saying about West Ham and how we kind of had Europe last season and how we failed off because of Europe. No, we did it from the first game of the season. We fell off then. It was the European conference that saw us through the season. You know, the league was just immaterial. We just went by. Out of all using this channel, and at least we actually kind of walked away with a proper trophy last season.
Imagine, okay, who has the cup here? Who has the cup here?
Exactly. Eugene came in swinging into the chat there earlier on. He just says, "What's the only team in London that win a trophy, European trophy last season?" And he came in swinging, so I love it. But anyway, I want to go to Kyle Walsh because he's the van is idling there. He's fucking burning fuel like it's going out of bleeding fashion. Anyway, Kyle, what do you make of your sort of top six, or would you agree with Eugene? Are Arsenal going to be lifting that trophy in May?
Not a chance.
For fuck's sake, I build you up and you fucking put me down like that.
Then why? We have to stay positive, but realistically, I can't see Arsenal lifting the league title, unfortunately. I still think that we're still missing a couple of key players in the squad. We need an out-and-out goal scorer. We just don't have one. I'm hearing a lot of things about Balogun. My opinion, I don't think he's good enough. Eddie Nketiah, not good enough. Jesus is not an out-and-out goal scorer. And Kai Havertz, you must have me on the team. So it's not looking good. Now, also on top of that, we were on top of the league table last season, pushing to win the Premier League title, and we were playing one game a week. And we couldn't do it that way. Now we've been playing Champions League football. We've been playing 2 games a week. So what makes us all of a sudden think that we're going to win the Premier League? It ain't happening. Man City will win the league title again. What?
I'll swap you if you want. Do you want to take our Thursday night football? I'll swap you if you want. Straight away.
Don't be surprised if we end up playing Thursday football next season.
But here, Kyle, I want to say this to you, right? Gundogan is gone, okay? Mahrez is gone. You know what I mean? Who else? There's a few other players that are sort of on the verge of leaving as well. We don't know if Kyle Walsh, I was going to say, Kyle Walker is leaving. But you know what I mean? That's sort of put a bit of a dent in them. I don't care. Like, Gundogan was serious ball player for them. And so was Mahrez coming off the bench. And I'm just trying to be positive here. You know, does that not sort of frighten you as a Man City's perspective? Like,
no,
I still think Man City have the quality they'll buy. They're out there buying the quality as well. So I can't see past Man City. I hope I'm wrong, but I just can't see by him. Pep Guardiola there, he's a winner. He knows how to win. So I'm going for that. And I'm going to tell you another thing. We'll be up there. Don't get me wrong. We'll be up there as well. And I think Manchester United, will be up there as well. Be interested to see what Pochettino's going to do with Chelsea. And let's not forget Newcastle. Newcastle will definitely be up there. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting that way. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do win the league title. But I just don't see it, you know. Unfortunately. Well, I still believe that we should have got another midfielder, and we should have got a striker. And perhaps a right winger is if anything happens to Saka. Saka from me needs to be rested, or something has to happen, because he hasn't kicked the ball for the last 4 months. You know, he looked base in the Community Shield. The man is playing 70 games a season. So I think we need a quality player there to come in and just give Saka the rest against the likes of Nottingham Forest. No disrespect to them. You know, to the smaller clubs, because Saka's going to be a very important player for us throughout the season. So interesting times ahead, there, boy. I wish I could tell you the top 6, because if you don't, the bookie's putting €50 on it, man.
In fairness, Kyle, it was great. It was great to see Saka score that penalty the other day, wasn't it? It was great to see him the penalty.
Yeah. Top player.
Even as a neutral, as a Liverpool fan, when he was walking, saying, just put the ball in the back of the net. We don't need any. Any of this
Top
crap
player.
at the start of the season, bang it in there, and he did. Quality.
It's going to
No,
be interesting. I
Cole.
think this season's going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of the most interesting seasons we've had in a long time.
Niall,
I agree with you though,
when I
Cole.
was
With
just sort of-
Saka, you know, when you look at it, he's kind of for the last 3-4 seasons, he's played consistently, and as you said, all it takes for me, he's been burnt out. Arteta likes playing the youngsters too much sometimes. I mean, like, you know, you've got Smith Rowe, who's come back now, but for the last 2 seasons, he's carried that injury for a while, and now he's obviously, is he going to get a chance for you guys? I very much doubt. I think he'll only come on maybe for the cup games, if anything. But Saka, yeah, I think you need a replacement cover there, because if he gets injured, you are definitely screwed, because there's no one else there really to go. Oh well, no, you can have Kivior. Kivior can go in there and place, take his place instead. But I'm only joking. But yeah, you needed. You definitely need a striker. That's the one thing I think of all the areas you've kind of filled in with. A striker is the key thing, because you can't rely on Jesus and you can't rely on Nketiah. Balogun is the forgetting man. I don't know what's gone on with him and Arteta. They're just soured there. And Emil Smith Rowe, like I just mentioned, is he going to get much of an opportunity? I don't think so. So yeah, you definitely need them 2 areas.
And you could see that towards the end of last season as well with Saka. Like, he was burnt out sort of February, March time, and any game after that, he was there. He wasn't as clinical as he was at the start, because he had the World Cup and everything like that. And for me, today, apparently they've terminated Nicolas Pepe's contract as well, and he would have been sort of back up to him, you know what I mean? And that's done now. So we have literally basically no cover in that right-hand position. So I think Arsenal are going to make a move. I'm pretty sure they will in that position, and they'll find someone who I don't know yet. But Niall, I want to come to you there, because when I was sort of talking about the Gundogan leaving, Riyad Mahrez leaving and stuff like that, you were sort of shaking your head and sort of laughing. But, I'm trying to be, is it definitely Man City's?
Well, I'll explain to you. I've been hunting down that team for 5 or 6 seasons now. And I just want to explain to all you on the panel and in the chat, it's the hope that kills you. It's the hope that kills you. I sit here hunting them down with 3 points or 4 points in the different, thinking, Leicester could go there and get a point and all this kind of thing. And the hope kills you on that. They're going to come out swinging from the fences. They're going to come back out strong again. He isn't sitting on his hands. You can see what he's doing there. He's after bringing in Vardy. He's making all the proper moves and stuff like that. Gundogan, of course, will be a loss. He'd be a loss in any team. But we've seen what happens at Man City. Pep doesn't even look at the names on the back of the shirts. If you want to go, he takes that cog out, puts another cog in, and away they go again. You had your man Cole Palmer, I think, today. He's had a little bit of a little jibe there talking about game time and stuff like that. And you seen Pep's interview today. I don't know what's happening, but sure, if he wants to go, we'll just sort something. It's not a problem, Cole Palmer off, I think it's either, is he linked with Palace or West Ham or something like that? And he's there, no problem, He'll come into West Ham, 70 million for Paqueta. And there you go, and you can have Calvin or Phillips and all. He doesn't care about names. He doesn't even look at names. He wants people to go in there and do what he wants them to do. There'll be no drop off, and for me, it's Man City again this season. The gulf is just too much when you look at it. I mean, all you have to do is sit back with your own teams and do combined 11s, even if you're into combined 11s, and you can see if you get 1 or 2 players in there, you're doing really well. And the picture tells the tale, really. And I can't see it. The only way I can see it is if they get off to a slow start again, and Newcastle come out of the traps fast, or Arsenal come out of the traps fast, and you build up a lead that you can try and maintain. But again, we're having Champions League football and stuff like that. That could derail you and stuff like that. And I think actually this season, scarily enough, I think Man City could wrap it up quite early, I think, because Newcastle going into Champions League and stuff like that, it's going to be quite an adventure for their fans and stuff like that. Brilliant to see them back in there and doing the things they're doing. For Arsenal back in the Champions League as well, you've seen people coming out expecting Arsenal to get to the semi-final of the Champions League. That has been the prediction. If you get to the semi-final of the Champions League,
it's very
how are you going to handle that those 2 games a week at very high level, especially if you get out of the group? It's going to be really, really tough. But for me, my top 4 at the moment, my top 6 at the moment is Man City, Arsenal, Man United. I think if they get in Pavard and they bring in Amrabat and stuff like that, they're going to look really, really, really strong. And then they have a decision to make over Mason Mount that I know doesn't sit well with a lot of us, but still they've an asset there. They're going to have to make a decision. If they drop him in there and they can get over the wave of the crap that's going to come with it and stuff like that, that's a little baller there who knows where the net is as well. And they'll be very, very strong. The stuff they're doing under Ten Hag at the moment. Look at what they've done with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's about to get a new contract. 6 months ago, they were burying him out the door. Now that he's turned him around as well, so we know he can coach. So Man United in third, Newcastle in fourth. I think they'll maintain their Champions League. And I'm going with a sneaky little prediction for the fifth Champions League place. I think is going to go to one team a lot of us are sleeping on, Aston Villa and Unai Emery, who's going to have a fantastic season, bringing in some really, really talented players under the radar, really setting up his team there to have a go this season, stuff like that. Fabulous manager. Pau Torres in defence. Diaby's after coming in. Look what's happened in pre-season. He's making exceptional signs. And look at Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins with the right people feeding him this season. Ramsey still in midfield. McGinn, that energy that they bring and stuff like that. Aston Villa this season, I think, upset a lot of teams this season. Emery with a full pre-season as well. Remember, he only came in, I think, in October. He's had a full pre-season to look at the team as well. Aston Villa are going to play some serious football this year. So I think them fifth, Chelsea sixth, Liverpool seventh, and I went for Tottenham in eighth. That rounds out my top eight because the European places have been decided. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. I want to, John, I just want to come to you because there's not many sort of talking about Newcastle at the minute. And for me, like, I believe that you guys are a serious team, and the way you've been buying this season has been shrewd, nice bit of business. You know what I mean? And also Chelsea for me is probably a dark horse as well. I wouldn't have Villa up so high, Niall, but I do get exactly where you're coming from, and I do find it hard to agree. John, your sort of predictions, your sort of top few there. What way are you feeling?
I think it's going to be really exciting this season, the Premier League. I really, really do. I agree with Niall's points as well, and some parts as well. I mean, he speaks facts, which I like. And I look at it, so it all depends on the bought. I mean, you touch on Aston Villa, they have bought really well. They really have. We got to play them first, by the way. That's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a tough game. They played some serious football, like Niall said. Diaby, who was after him as well. Pau Torres, Roy Tillemans, when he behaves himself as well. Ollie Watkins is going to get better and better and better. Do you know what I mean? Still young, you know? I mean, for me, I'm going to say Man City's going to win it again because you look at the squad they've got, it's too strong. If they get Paquetá, then that's going to make them stronger. Rodri's going to be doing bits. De Bruyne doing KDB things. Erling Haaland's going to be doing stuff as well. He's going to get, I don't think he scored as many that he did last season, but I still think he's going to get plenty of goals for City. I think Man United sport well. I mean, slightly. Onana's a great keeper. Mason Mount, I'm not too sure about. I mean, that Højlund, I mean, I watched Serie A. This guy is a real talent. The guy's a real talent. 6'3" of him, big, strong lad. Give him time, and then he'd become a fantastic player. I still think United still need to get probably another midfielder along the way. But if Fezgo Ambarat is going to be a cracking signing, I think he'll say he's a great player as well. Arsenal, you spend well over 200 mil. Kai Havertz, there is a player in there, by the way. There's a player in there. Now he's got to show the Arsenal fans what he really means. Timber looks a quality fullback. I've always rated this guy. I think he's a cracking class. Declan Rice, I mean, I think it's an amazing signing, 105 million quid. I mean, I like him. He'll do bits. I think you need a striker, Del. You need a striker big time. Go out there, get a world-class striker, and I think you could be very, very close to winning that title. Real talk here. Who have I mentioned? Liverpool, well, I'm not sure what's going to happen to them this season. I think they're going to come just short. Tottenham, I mean, they lose Harry Kane. I think they're buggered. Let's be real. Villa, like I said, serious stuff as well. Newcastle, I like the signings to Nali, Barnes, and also Livramento as well. I think they're cracking signings as well. If I could go with the position as well, for me, I'm going to have to say Man City is just going to win it again. Arsenal second, Newcastle third, United fourth, Chelsea fifth, Liverpool sixth, Villa seventh, Spurs eighth.
Very interesting. And just on that sort of point, I just want to, Eugene. Now you probably fucking go mad when you hear this. But if I'm running Arsenal Football Club in the morning, and I just want to hit on what John was saying there, that Arsenal need a striker, all right. And they don't call me Del Boy for no reason whatsoever. It didn't just come and fall into the fucking universe and go, we'll christen this guy Del Boy. Del Boy goes in swinging like Conor McGregor. He's going up to Daniel Levy and he's grabbing him by the scruff of the neck and just go, we're going to match Bayern Munich's offer and fucking sit down and shut the fuck up. Harry Kane to the Gunners. You know what I mean? He supported Arsenal. I couldn't give a fuck if everyone says, but he's Spurs or whatever. Sol Campbell done it. Harry Kane will get you 20 plus goals a season, and then we're swinging. We're winning the league. Can that happen?
They can next summer.
Hold on. I tell the truth, right? What Niall's correct, right? If Kane doesn't leave, right, this window, right, and it prolongs until next summer, and he's on a free, he has a choice to go wherever he wants to go, which I'm going to say that most probably he'll move to Chelsea, right? Because Poch is there, right? I see that happening. I've been saying that for a long time since Poch went to Chelsea, right? And they don't settle this Kane issue, right? I see Kane going to Chelsea, but going to Arsenal is a bit far off because I don't think he wants to be in that category at the moment. But unless you tell me, right, the Cronkies come out with 150 million pounds now, throw it on the table to Levy, bye-bye.
Yeah. You couldn't blame him, like, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day...
Bye-bye. Yeah, I'll say bye-bye.
That's a film when Poch is still at Chelsea next season.
Poch is still at Chelsea next season. Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
And so like Tony, did you give your sort of top few there, top 4 or 5?
No, I haven't yet. For me, obviously, I think it's going to definitely be City. I can't see it being, as Niall said, whatever way you look at it, they've got 2 teams. Simple as that. They can and they are byproducts. Pep doesn't like someone, off you go. Someone comes in and they're still going to do some business. I can see that coming before the window shuts. So I think the second team is going to be Heavy Mama Flossie. The second team for me is going to be Man United. I think with what he's bought there, they're going to be very strong this season. Holberg, I think though there's a bit of an issue by all accounts, something to do with his back. There's something serious that's come into this. So the rumour is, I don't know how true that is. Third, and I think you're going to turn white when I say this, Niall, is Liverpool. I believe that he's got a chance of actually kind of doing something. I knew your face would go like that. Fourth, I think it'll be Newcastle. I definitely think it'll be Newcastle. What they've bought, they've been very strong in the signings they've got. Fifth, I'm going to go with Aston Villa on that.
Yes, man, plus A.
And for sixth,
who did you say fifth there, Tony? Sorry,
fifth.
Yeah.
I think I said Villa there, didn't I? I said Villa.
Yeah.
And 6, I'll go with. I'm only up to 6, and I will throw as the spanner in the works, and I will say Brighton.
Oh Jesus! Tony's come in swinging. Do you not think that the European may affect them at all?
No, I think if anything else in that, with most clubs in that, it could probably better them. Like you said, you going back into the Champions League, that's going to be a good test for you guys. See what is strength in you. You're still kind of, you haven't got the depth in the squad still, even though with these players you've recently signed, I think you're still lacking in that kind of areas. Newcastle, they're kind of, as you said, the one thing with all the hype of the new owners of Newcastle, everyone thinks that Newcastle is going to buy players left, right, and centre, but they've handled their business really well. So I think they've got a good chance doing that as well. As you said, with Villa and even with Brighton, both in Europe, I think it's a stepping stone. It helps you kind of bridge that kind of gap where you've been missing it for so long. So I don't think they have too much of a problem, which you think that most people think there will be. Spurs are dead, so I ain't got to worry about that. Sorry about that, Eugene, but you ain't gonna. You'll probably be sitting next to us, hand in hand, when the season finishes. At this point,
that's what the thing is, right? Without proper defense, and without Harry Kane. So yeah, quite close to you guys, but
Yeah, it's going to be hard to see in that.
Yeah, like like I'm gonna sort of call out mine as well. Like I actually think now, Kyle, I hope you're not driving that van, but I actually think Arsenal are going to win the league.
Go on, then,
Yeah,
Big up, Jez Smith. How we doing?
Yeah,
my
big up
Jez, my
yeah.
Jez.
I
Legend.
actually
Legend.
don't go far off what Jez is saying there. I'm going for Arsenal City. I think Newcastle are going to get third. I'll go Man United as well. And then probably fifth, Chelsea. I just think Pochettino is just world class. I think he's going to get a tune out of all these prima donnas and every sort of thing like that. And I'm sure he has told the Chelsea board that, look, I don't give a fuck how much they've signed for, what their wage is. I'm going to pick the best team out there and maybe just give a bit of sort of passion back to the Chelsea team. You know what I mean? Because these prima donnas think they're, just because they're on such a wage that they're unstoppable. They have to play every week in and week out, you know. So yeah, I think Chelsea could be there about, and I agree with Niall as well. Emery, he started in October, was it November or something like that? He's got right in. He knows what he needed between now and then. You know what I mean? So he's picked out, right, this player is not up for it. He can't do it. I need to get X, Y, and Z in. Plus, as well, the big thing, and this is what he didn't have at Arsenal, is that his English wasn't great. He is now fluent at English. He even when he was at Arsenal, he didn't like using the interpreter and stuff like this. And that's how he lost the dressing room. And when he lost the dressing room, that's when he lost his job. You know what I mean? So I think he's getting his feet right under there. If Villa don't get up to, I think Villa will get Europe this year. I don't think they'll get Champions League, but I think next year they'll be right up there to get into the Champions League if Emery does get the ball rolling. You know, I want to sort of just quick, we're going to wrap up now in a few minutes, but please do hit the like and the subscribe button. And as I said earlier on, the link is in the description for all the guys' chat, apart from Kyle Walsh, and I'll add that in later on. But please do just throw a sub their way and a like or two on their video. I'd really appreciate that, and I'm sure the boys will. But just, I'll go around the table here. Relegation. No offense, Tony, but I just wanted to sort of bring you in there, like, you know what I mean? Your end of the table. And maybe not. But Eugene, I'll start with you, mate. You're 3 for relegation this season.
I see Wolves got a lot of problems, right? That's gonna be one of them. And I think between Wolves, that will be between Luton and Sheffield United.
Right, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I like, you know, I can't disagree with that. Tony, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with that. I mean, like Wolves, when you think the problems they've had there, you know, look at it, you know, he walked. I think they've done the right thing by getting Gary O'Neill in, because when you think the budget he had at Bournemouth and that, he's probably the right man to go in there and try and see if he can turn it around. But I can't see it myself. Sheffield United, yeah, they're just going to bounce straight back down. You know what they've got. There's no real quality. They signed someone yesterday that no one knows who he is. And Luton, I don't know. Luton might be the dark horse out of the three of them. He might go down there and that. So the other one that's possibility that could be there or thereabouts, you never know. It could also be Everton. Or even Palace, to think about it.
Yeah,
Palace.
Big call there. Big call. Kyle, who are you going for? Who's your relegations?
Yeah, I think Sheffield United, Luton, and I think Wolves as well. I think it's in serious bother. So I go for 3 of them, dead boy.
Yeah, Niall, where are you going?
Yeah, I have Wolves in there as well. The managerial thing is perplexing. Plus, they've sold off a lot of key players. Ruben Neves has gone. Raul Jimenez has gone. Matinho was released, as far as I know. I think Hillman has either left or he's about to leave or something like that. They're losing a lot of quality players there. They struggled last season as well, let's be honest. I think they're in trouble. Everton, I think, are in serious trouble. I think there's only so many times you can escape out of that situation. Last year, they barely made it. This year, you're looking at a similar situation. Players gone, Calvert-Lewin injured again. Their only real signing of any decency, I think, was Ashley Young, who's come in. And is that going to be a step up in on a free? I don't think they've improved at all. I think they'll be down there right from the get-go battling, and I think this year might be too much. And then Luton, I think what Luton will do is Luton will entertain us this year. They're a big physical team, but ultimately I don't think they have enough. I think they will surprise us with a couple of results, but I don't think it'll be enough to keep them in the division.
Fair enough. John, where do you go, mate?
I think Luton, they'll give it a go. They'll probably be fun, but I think they'll be on their way. I mean, like now said, they're a big physical side, but I just don't think it's going to be enough this season. And it's so tough when you haven't been playing for a long time, but as they enjoy it. Sheffield United's in big trouble as well. We've not spent a lot. They saw their best striker to Marseille. And if you sell Sander Berg to Burnley, they're going to be more bigger trouble as well for me. And then one last place. It's going to be interesting, man. I mean, I could choose about 8 or 9 to get relegated. It's going to spot of trouble. But for me, I'm going to go. I think I'd love to see Everton get relegated, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. I think Burnley will be safe. I think Palace will be safe. It's going to be between Wolves and Forest for me this season. And for me, I think it's going to be Wolves because there's an absolute farce what's going on at that football club in a minute. Losing Neves, Coutinho, and a couple of other players as well. They lost as well, quality players as well. And I tell you something now, right? They don't start well. They're going to be in serious power. Yeah. And player for me this season, the player of the season for me, for Wolves, it'll be Jose Sarr. Because without him, there'll be a must hold. That keeper's a fantastic keeper. And he only lasts so long. I think he's going to go Wolves, Sheffield United, and Luton.
Very good. Very interesting points and great, good ones as well. I don't know if it's the smell of shite around me here or whatever, but it must be going to me brain. And you're all probably just going to leave the whole fucking screen here. But anyway, I'm going to say it. I think Forest are in trouble. I don't know. I just think they were too close last season. I think there's a few prima donnas there and stuff like that. I think they might be in that dogfight area. I'm going for Wolves as well. And just from what you guys are saying as well, I agree. Just like, the manager go and all that sort of stuff, especially coming up to the start of the season. It's a bad time to do that. And then I am going to go Sheffield United. And yeah, you did hear it first. Where the fuck is Luton Town? I don't know, right? And I'm just going to throw this out there. You know what I mean? You're on Dale Boy Gunner TV. There's fucking shite that comes out of his mouth is unreal. But I think that they have a little fortress there, okay? And I think they might just do a sort of what Hull done a few seasons ago. And you know what I mean? They had fucking, they got results at home. You know what I mean? Now, look, they're very weak. But look, these squads that come together and they just fucking give it everything. I think Sheffield United done it a few seasons ago as well. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone that says they're going straight down. I think that they could be, they'll battle it out between, let's say down toward last or something like that. That's what I think. There's my three. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, look, I just want to say thanks a million to my guests, to everyone in the chat, and a big thank up to everyone who's put comments in and liking the videos and subscribing. And please do hit one on the way out. And as well, the link is in the description to everyone else is in their chat. And I'll just go around. Eugene, what do you have coming up to your channel, mate?
Tomorrow, 3 p.m. UK time, I'll be doing a show called the Pre-Season Review Show. But usually I do it with fans from other clubs. But tomorrow I'm going to do it just with Spurs fans because, Spurs are in a meltdown at the moment. So,
yeah, that's fair enough. Tony, where can people find you, and when what do you have coming up?
So obviously you can find me on Early Doors Football TV. I've got probably going to do a preview for the West Ham game, and then I've got probably going to do a code lab with Old School Gunner probably tomorrow night, and then I've got a few other things lined up come next week. I've got a young lad that I've met who's come to me, West Ham United Foundation, Faithful. So I'm going to do another show with him next week as well. So you've got a few things in the pipeline. I've got Long-Haired Yeti. I'm going to try and tap him up and get another show going with him as well. So you've got a few things in the pipeline, and hopefully, Dale, I can invite you on my channel for the channel, and obviously these great people that's sitting in this room as well.
Yeah, 100%, mate. No problem at all. Kyle Walsh, what do you have coming up, mate? I think he's frozen, or he crashed the van or something like that. I'll come back to him. Niall.
It's after your comments, Bill.
Oh shit!
The kid walked over to the van looking for a Choco's. Del. Walked over to the van looking for a Choco's. Yeah, absolutely.
Come here, Niall. I told him when he bought that ice cream van, it's going to fucking backfire on you, and it did. What do you have coming up, mate?
I have a show right after this. We'll be doing our Premier League preview and beat the bookie and giving our predictions for the season. So we'll be giving you our tips and picks on how you can lose your money at the weekend. We were fairly consistent at it last season. Tomorrow night at some stage, I think it's around 8 o'clock, I think I have the Chelsea preview for my sins, which is going to be very interesting from what you've heard tonight. And I'm sure Sunday I'll be doing a match reaction and player ratings, which also should be pretty interesting. So yeah, that's it for the moment.
Lovely stuff. John, when you're not having caviar and champagne and you're not on Del Boy Gunner TV, what are you doing?
Getting stalked, John getting stalked on airplanes and everything. We're seeing it the other day. Getting stalked. Lads taking pictures of them on airplanes and posting them on Twitter and tagging them and everything. Big up, John.
Big up, man. First of all, to Mama Flossie, just say great to see you as well. And she's a massive fan of my channel as well. You got to bless her, and she is wonderful as well. So share some love to Mama Flossie too. You can find me as John Sinclair TV. Please like and subscribe. I'm 15 away from getting 5,900. I've got come up to 99 o'clock. I did a match preview and 2 guests as well, and also do 5 takeaways, little content, also a scout report as well. I'm also doing the Global Mags on Sunday live with Lassie as well. So I do previews, reviews, player ratings, breaking news, and I do different types now. Do you know what I mean? And I've also subscribed to everyone's channel as well. And if you can, please hit that like, subscribe in the chat as well, please, and then it'll help us a long way to go. And we have team support. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a million. And as I said again,
you,
thanks to the guests and stuff like that. I really do appreciate it. And all the legends in the chat as well. I've coming up tomorrow. I'm doing a match day vlog. I'm going to the Shelbourne v Shamrock Rovers game. It's an Irish football. Niall, you know about that. But I'm going doing a vlog with that with my 2 boys. We're going to the match, so looking forward to that. And then Arsenal, the Nottingham Forest, they kick off the game, early kick-off on the Saturday. So straight after that, I'll be doing my usual fan cam reaction. And please do drop in, say hello, hit a like and all that. I really appreciate it again. And as I says to everyone in the chat, really fair play to you. Thanks a million for coming along. Until that, looking forward to the whole season. I'm sure we'll probably do a little digest through the mid-season. Maybe if you guys are welcome to come back, yous are all welcome. Yeah. We do a show then and just go, look, Del, you were fucking mad to say Luton Town are going to stay up. But hey, yo, this is what we are talking about. This is why we love the game of football. Thanks a million, everyone. Take care. God bless yous all.